All right. Um, this is the little bell housing for the Bridgeport mill here. You can see how pitted, and there's just almost no luster at all. I'm about to polish this up. Here, I'll show you this one as well. I just want to give you a good before view. You can see just like it's not very shiny, and there's signs of corrosion. So I'm going to polish this up. Okay, this is the pulley housing for the Bridgeport mill. I'm just basically going to try to get as close as I can here and show you what it looks like. This is a really used unit. It's been in service probably about 35 years. And so I'm going to polish it up. I got the bottom part of the housing. I polished that yesterday just to show you what kind of result we're going to get. This is almost like a chrome finish, chrome-like finish. You can see some of this stuff here, but that's, I believe, from like a wrench or something. So it's dense. I could probably polish those out, but I'd have to wind up sanding it down. I don't want to do that. But you can see how shiny the surface is. So I'm going to show basically how to take something as dull and stained and dirty as this and turn it into a mirror shine. All right, so basically what I have here, I have acetone. I'm just going to clean the surface here to try to get as much of this dirt and oil off as possible. There may be little metal fragments, or also this dirt may have some composition in it you don't want to smear into the rest of the part. And ultimately, the cleaner you get this, the better. So be careful if you have like the side areas with the letters and so on. If you use acetone on that, it will fade it out. But like I said, I'm just gonna basically solvent clean this, try to get as much of this crap out of here as possible, and then I'm gonna start buffing. All right, I got a little cap full of this acetone here, and this is a soft bristle brush. It's not metal, it's just plastic. And so I'm gonna use that to kind of get into these nooks and crannies just to get all this crap out of here. This is kind of optional on how much time you want to spend doing this, but it's good to get it as clean as possible. In here in the middle, you're really not going to be able to buff into these surfaces, so it's kind of good to do as much of this work as you can. Yeah, one other thing I was going to say is not to use a metallic brush because it will scratch the surface, and it'll basically cause, you'll have to put a whole bunch more work into the buffing part to get it to come out. All right, so what I have here is I got a pretty beefy drill. This is a hammer drill. I got it on drill mode. This is what I use. I've done a lot of buffing with this. I bought this pad at Harbor Freight for like $4. Basically what it is a cotton pad, and they have it stitched together. They also have some that are like compressed between two washers, and they're not stitched necessarily. Don't use that. It's for like really like high polishing, and it's not really going to help in this application. What you want is something stitched together with stitches so that this thing basically forms a pad that kind of almost stands up on its own weight. And then the next thing you need is some of this polishing compound. Or rouge, and there's different types of rouge depending on what the material is, how fast you want it to cut, or whether you're doing like a coarse polish or a fine polish. This is really not that complicated, but there's stuff that there's different stuff you could read on the internet to see what's the best thing to use. I bought this also at Harbor Freight. It says polishing compound. Fast cut compound is used to prevent light scratches and restore natural look of copper, brass, stainless steel, and aluminum. And so I don't think this is anything like amazing here. It's just paid like $4 for it. So what you do is I power up the drill, and I just kind of, so you have to control the way that the drill turns because there's a screw in here that holds that thing on, and if you turn it the wrong way, when you start buffing, it'll back that screw out and the pad will fall off. Also, you want to make sure that the collet or this portion of the drill, the chuck or whatever, it doesn't make contact with your workpiece. And so the first thing you do is just basically get your drill going. I have a throttle switch here where once I get it going, I can push and hold that button down and it'll just stay like on pretty much full blast. And then I just kind of load these this buffing pad up with a reasonable amount of this rouge buffing compound, and then you just kind of work your workpiece. So when you're going in this direction, what it does is it loads up that wax. Basically what this rouge is a wax, and it has some kind of abrasive in it that is a cutting compound. And so one direction will apply the wax and the other direction kind of will remove it, and that's where you get that luster. And so anyway, you have to experiment around with like directionally how you do it. Usually what I do is start in a small area, and if it'll basically turn that area gray where the wax gets applied, and then you can kind of go back and forth and figure out what the best way to apply it and then remove it is. I'm gonna go ahead and load this thing up. That's probably more than enough. All right, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to kind of set this down. I'll get it started, and then I'm going to kind of buff it this way and then go back the opposite way. I'm just going to polish this little Bridgeport area where it says Bridgeport just to show what you could do. One other thing I wanted to say is you really don't need to press all that hard. The only effort you're really putting into all of this is control. Basically, so since the wheel's turning in a direction, it's trying to move your arm to, the wheel will try to make the drill climb in a certain direction. When you hit, like say if the wheel's rotating in this direction, when it hits this corner, it's going to try to drag the drill around the corner. And so you got to be really careful about running the chuck into it, because what it'll do is the wheel will go over the corner and then the chuck will bottom out on that edge and leave a little mark. So what you want to do is keep away from it on this side, and if you need to polish that edge, basically what I was doing is putting the wheel this way so that it's not trying to climb over that edge. And then also you could go around to the other side or change the direction of your part or whatever, so that now it's your wheel will be turning this way and wiping off of the part. And so then that'll make it so the wheel's trying to climb in this direction. So anyway, just be careful. Just let the tool do the work. Don't push too hard. And take your time.